Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome, new families. We are so glad that you have chosen Heron. All right. I'm going to go over just a few quick notes for those of you that maybe are just joining and didn't hear them. One, we're asking that everyone please keep your microphone on mute so that we limit the background noise. Also, please feel free to turn your video feature on and off. We do realize that everybody's from home and that you have your lives and things are a little bit different. So if you need to turn it off, that's absolutely fine. This session is being recorded. So if you are not able to attend, we are going to email out and also post the link to the video and these slides on our website. We are encouraging all families, parents, guardians, and students to listen in. If you have questions, please feel free to use the chat feature at any time. And one of our faculty or staff members will do our best to answer those questions. And then if you want to actually ask a question, if you could just wait until the end to do that, it would be greatly appreciated. All right. And also, once we are able to actually return to school on our hybrid model, we will be hosting another orientation to go over information because obviously school is going to look a little bit different in person than it's going to now virtually. Okay, so our agenda for this evening, we're going to begin with introductions of faculty and staff that are on the Zoom call with us. Then we're going to talk about Heron, get into our student orientation information, and then outline some of what our virtual learning will look like. We're going to talk through our final enrollment steps, and then also our key and upcoming dates. And finally, we'll be taking any questions that you may have. All right. So for our introductions, I'm going to go ahead and start with myself. So my name is Tanika Holden Flynn. The student's Dr. Holden Flynn, and I will be serving as interim head of school this year. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information about myself for those families who didn't have an opportunity to meet me yet. I grew up in a very small area in Pennsylvania called Mercer County, Pennsylvania. And I like to talk about that just because it's so relevant to who I am. I'd like to share the story about the fact that I actually started going to public school in my 9th grade year of school. And so prior to that, from kindergarten all the way up, actually in my 10th grade year, from kindergarten all the way up to 9th grade, I attended a private Catholic school. And so for me, like my first experience with going to public school was just a little bit different. The class sizes were much larger. Some of the work wasn't as rigorous. There wasn't as many resources available. And so it was really an eye-opening experience for me to understand that everyone just didn't automatically get a great education. And so that is what inspires me to do this work and keeps me grounded in this work. Also, the area where I grew up is definitely a very tight-knit community. And so I feel like everybody there pretty much, like my whole community was really invested in me as an individual and doing well. And that has helped shape the person that I am today. And I think that really coincides with Heron and what we do. Like we are definitely a family and we support our students, and everybody in our building is going to make sure that we're doing what we can to make sure they're successful. And so after leaving Mercer County, I went to Youngstown State University to get my undergraduate degree. While I was there, I got a degree in secondary education, integrated social studies, and also a degree in political science. And once I left there, I actually moved to the Washington, D.C. metro area and became a social studies teacher. World history was one of my favorite content areas to teach, and just really love so much about the global perspective, and then also really looking at how certain things in different cultures actually just continue to come up again. It really makes me understand how much we are all connected as a people. And so after teaching for 5 years, I then decided that after teaching for 3 years, I decided to go back and get a master's degree. And I did that at Johns Hopkins University, and I got a master's in school education administration. And once I finished that, I did move into administration work. And when I started administration work, I also then went to Howard University to get my doctorate degree. And while doing that, I met my husband. My husband is also a school administrator. We met in DC at the time. We were both working for DC public schools. He's an amazing person. And we add an addition to our family. My daughter will be 1 year old on August 23rd. So that's little Jordan. And this is my extended family. My mother and my sister are absolutely my best friends. And just wanted to share a little bit about me personally. In my downtime, I am definitely a Bravo junkie. Anything that comes on that channel, I'm obsessed with, and I will binge watch it for hours. Even though sometimes I feel like I shouldn't be watching it, I just cannot turn my eyes away. So that's a little bit about myself. And we're going to move on to talk about some of our other staff members. So those of you that are on the call, if you could just chime in and just talk a little bit about yourself, that would be great. Rochelle, if you're available.
Yeah, sorry, I am here. I am Rochelle Klinger. I am one of the assistant heads of school for Heron. I have been at Heron. I'm entering year 10, so that's a really exciting milestone for me. I started as a physics teacher after completing my bachelor's in physics at Purdue. I grew up in Plainfield on the west side and have been in Indiana for a long time. And I am entering my 3rd year as assistant head of school. I've done a few other roles in the school, and I'm really excited to get to know some of your students. I've gotten to know some of you and your students as director for Summer Academy this year, and I'm looking forward to getting to continue that. So yeah, our office, just to give you a little bit of information, our office is kind of, we work on culture, discipline when needed, a lot of logistics. We are kind of the catch-all of like, I'm not sure who to ask. So they ask us, and we either know the answer, ask someone who would know the answer, or help to come up with an answer. So that's kind of our goal as an office, is to support you and your students as just having a really successful experience here.
My name is Atticus Westerfeld. I'm the other assistant head of school here at Heron. I have been here at Heron as a teacher first since the fall of 2007. So for a long time here. It is where I met my lovely wife here at Heron High School, and also we have 3 young boys. They are 6, 4, and 10 months now. I am excited for this school year. I am heavily invested in Heron High School, whether it's online or in the hallways, and I'm excited to help everyone and kind of get all those questions answered that you guys have, and make sure that you guys have a great education here at Heron High School.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bree Anderson. I'm the Dean of Students at Heron High School. This is my first year at Heron, so I'm new with all of you, so it's kind of exciting. Hopefully we can learn from each other. I'll be working with Atticus and Rochelle in the Assistant Head of School office. Prior to coming to Heron, I was a school counselor for a little bit at Brebeuf Jesuit High School, and then before that at Fishers High School. So I'm really excited to be downtown and to be coming on at Heron, and I'm really excited to meet you all. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. All right, next we're going to meet our counseling team. So those of you that are on, if you could please go ahead and introduce yourself, that would be great.
All right, I'm gonna jump in here. I am Jenny Kiefer. I am the counselor for grades 9 through 11, last name's A through K. So first half of the alphabet. This is my 4th year at Heron coming up, so it's pretty exciting. Our department, we help with anything students' social emotional needs, academic needs, college and career needs, and we also house 504s.
Oops, realized I was muted. I am Julie. I am the other half of the alphabet for grades 9 through 11. Last name is L-E. Originally from Virginia. I'm going into my 4th year at Heron High School, and just super, super excited to get to know everyone. Please feel free to come to our office. We're housed in Russell. you guys do return to the building, and can't wait to see everyone.
All right. Okay. And so Ms. Shelby Briggs is our Director of Counseling. She is out on leave, and she will be out until October. So right now we have Mrs. Cheryl Piotrowski, who is covering for her right now while Ms. Briggs is on maternity leave.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Go ahead. You want to talk
That
about
was a great introduction. I'm working with the 12th graders this fall through October. Looking forward to the opportunity to learn more about Heron and get involved there.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Ed Rowe, and I am the Director of College and Career Readiness at Heron High School. I have been at Heron. This will be my 13th year at Heron now. I've been there since 2008. I started off as a Latin teacher. I spent about 6 years, 5-6 years as the World Languages Department Chair. And this will be my 3rd school year that I have been in this current role. I have two boys at home. One of them was only 10 months old when I started working at Heron High School, and he starts 7th grade in a couple of weeks. And he is seriously considering in 2 years becoming a Heron High School Achaean. So that's pretty exciting. It's going to be nuts. My primary job as Director of College and Career Readiness is I spend a lot of my time as the academic advisor and the college and career advisor for the 12th grade. I don't do a whole lot directly with new students, especially freshman students, but one thing that I do involve myself with is we have a college and career readiness curriculum that we work out that goes all the way from 9th to 12th grade. So if your student is a new student, especially if they're a freshman, they may hear from me a little bit this year in terms of learning about their career interests and starting to think about college plans already as a freshman. So any questions that you guys have between now and when they are ready to graduate regarding college or career preparedness, I'm your person to email and contact. So it's good to meet you all.
Thank you.
Jane is not on the call as far as I can tell, but I do just want to let folks know that Jane Hagenauer is our registrar. She will be a very important person for you to know as your students become seniors and start getting their transcripts ready to send out, and she plans all of graduation, and she's just an all-around great person to know, and she does a lot for our counseling team in particular.
Thank you. Okay.
That's me. Hi, everybody. I am Joanna Wiggins. I'm the athletic director for Heron High School. I am just finished up my 10th year, heading into my 11th year, which is crazy. I started out as a health and PE teacher and the head girls basketball coach, and now I solely manage all of our athletic programs. There's too much information for me to tell you about now, but I want to direct you to our athletic website. That's the best place to go. It's www.goheronathletics.com. You can find out all the information that you need there, what sports we offer, coaches information, my information. I'm excited to meet you guys. I might be the only one that actually gets to see our students right now, which is so exciting for me. We are pushing forward with fall sports for right now. We do have some extra COVID precautions that our coaches are managing that portion of it. Fall sports actually started on Monday. It's not too late to join. The only thing that's too late to join would be girls volleyball. We make cuts tomorrow because we have about 45 girls. But cross country, soccer, cross country and soccer and boys tennis, you are welcome to still join those. So just reach out to me, email me, or get on the website and contact me if you have any questions about the fall. I am here with the most fun job of everybody. I get to watch our students be athletes, and it's a great way for freshmen to get involved. So I encourage you, even during this crazy time right now, if you're interested in athletics, get a hold of me. Go Achaeans!
Hi, everyone. Ms. Hasper here. I'm your Director of Enrollment. I am so excited to get to know your students and your families. And part of the most fun part about my job is really developing those relationships with your students. I get to start my 5th year here at Heron. I have 2 boys who have already graduated from Heron, and my daughter will be a sophomore this year. So I am truly invested in Heron and believe in Heron, and I'm so excited that you guys will be joining us. Feel free, if you are not sure who to ask, if you have questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me and I can get you pointed in the right direction.
Okay. All right. And Dr. Sherry Anderson is our Director of Special Education. If your student has an IEP, an individualized education plan, you are going to want to follow up with Dr. Anderson. If your student has a 504, though, please follow up with your student's counselor. Okay. All right. And so let's talk about Heron for a little bit. I mean, obviously, you all know how great Heron is because you have selected to come to Heron. Heron has now been open for 14 years. And since our inception, we have been A-rated by the state Department of Education. And we are also currently the highest performing school in the city of Indianapolis in terms of our standardized assessments. So student is not only a great place academically, but Heron is truly a family. And I had the opportunity to speak with a few students just yesterday, and that's, you know, one thing that they just keep going back to is just how much that the staff really just encourages them and believes in them, and does whatever it takes to make sure that they can succeed. And so now that you have selected Heron, that's what you have signed up for, and you now have an extended family. All right. And so just to give you a little more information about our school, we're going to just get into some some of our adjectives that describe our school. So we are a public school, right? And so we are open for all students. We serve students all over the entire state of Indiana. We are a tuition-free school, and we do have a partnership with IPS. We are currently an IPS innovation school. And we are a college prep school. So we do emphasize rigor and in college preparatory classes. We offer advanced placement courses. We also offer pre-AP courses. And we also really strive to make sure that all students have the opportunity to go to college. And we are a classic liberal arts and sciences school. And so our 5 core classes are English, math, science, social studies, and world languages. I think what's also really important about classical education is the fact that we really try to instill a love for learning in our students, so that it's just something that they naturally want to do. And then as they continue on in their career, that they truly just enjoy learning. We are also a charter school. And so this means that we are accountable to the mayor's office. The mayor's office did authorize our charter. And as I stated earlier, we are an innovation school. I'm partnered with Indianapolis Public Schools. And we definitely intentionally focus on diversity. And if you were to walk through our building, you would just see that within our student body that we are extremely diverse. Okay. And so we also focus on mastery learning here at Heron. So this means that a student's grade is influenced more heavily by mastery assessments. That's their tests, quizzes, and projects, where they are demonstrating that they fully have learned a skill, all right? And so basically, if you look at that, so 70% of their grade will be comprised of those tests, quizzes, and things that students have the opportunity to show that they actually have mastered information. And then 30% of their grade will be more independent practice. Excuse me. All right. And so remediation passes, this is something that we provide. Because we do emphasize mastery learning, we know that students sometimes need multiple tries before they can master a skill. So students can remediate 2 mastery assessments, that's either their test or quizzes. They will have 2 attempts, and basically what that means is that they'll have the opportunity to complete those assessments again to earn a higher score. We also offer late passes, and so students have 3, that should say 3, not 2, 3 late passes each quarter to use on practice assignments. And they also only get 1 for AP classes. All right, so that's 3 for regular courses, and if it's an advanced placement class, that would only be 1. If students do not complete or do not fully complete a practice assignment, they can choose to use a late pass to turn it in for full credit. Students cannot store up the late passes though. You have to use it by the end of the quarter.
And just to jump in for 1 second, Tanika, I hope that's okay. This is a change. This particular slide is a change from our in-person learning. And so we don't want you to think that it would be the same if we're eventually back to full-time in-person learning. But as long as we are hybrid or virtual, it will be this. Our traditional like late pass policy is 2 late passes each quarter and 0 for AP classes. So.
Thank you. Okay. And our grading scale. So currently for virtual learning, our grading scale, students will be able to earn a D. That would be the lowest grade that a student would be able to earn would be a 69%, right? And so once a student earns lower than that, then they actually would end up getting an NG, which stands for no grade. And the student then would need to actually retake that course so that they could actually pass and get a grade. And Rochelle, if you wanted to chime in a little bit more about what that actually looks like when we're in regular school and not virtual school, that would be great.
Yeah, and I'm also actually just going to actively make a change to this because this should be 59 and 59 and below. I don't know, Tanika, if you can like refresh this or click to the next slide and back and maybe it'll fix it because I just adjusted it on the master copy, but a couple of these numbers are not quite correct. So during the school year, we do not allow, we do not offer credit for anything below 70%. So I will just clarify here where it says D, that is something that's temporary while we are virtual. And so students can earn a D for that 60 to 69% right now. And if they have a 59% or below, that would be an NG. We really believe that mastery is super important and knowing that our students are like ready to move on to the more rigorous next courses. So that's why we typically set our bar at 70%. If students are pursuing an academic honors diploma, they will still need to be at 70% for all of their classes. But if they're on a core 40 or below, then they would be able to move on and achieve credit for toward their graduation with a D for e-learning.
Thank you. Okay. And we wanted to show this slide just so you know where to go for resources. So this is just a snapshot of our website. And you could see here, there is a link that you can click on for families. If you need to get any of our forms, policies, if you want to look at our student parent handbook, this is where you would go to access that information. And also wanted to mention final steps for enrollment. If you have not filled out the online registration forms, please make sure that you do so by August 10th. You also want to make sure you email Ms. Hasper. Her email is listed there if you need your student's IN and passport to complete them. And also, we'll be having a t-shirt giveaway on student orientation information. So students should have received information about how to access their @heronhighschool.org email. So it's going to be the student's first name, their last name, and then @heronhighschool.org. They'll have Gmail-based emails, and you're going to change your password after you log in for the first time. You want to go ahead and change that password so it's something that you can remember. If any students or if your student is having any issues with that, please reach out to our help desk. That's helpdesk@heronhighschool.org, and they can help you troubleshoot any issues that you may have. Students will receive information about how to access a series of orientation videos via Edpuzzle. And so there's just various videos that are there, from introductions to school culture and academic success, that students will go through those videos and have a better understanding of what to expect at Heron High School. And then we also have our all-new student orientation that will be Tuesday, August 11th from 3 to 5 p.m. And that session will include a students panel of current students for question and answers. Additional student orientation information. So the first round of new student orientation is focused on setting up students for success for virtual learning and also building relationships. If we do transition to our hybrid model, we are going to hold another orientation to prepare students for that. And throughout the semester and year, we will be checking and doing check-ins to build relationships with, so the students can build relationships with the assistant head of schools and as well as our dean. All right, now we're going to take some time to dive into what our virtual learning is going to look like. So school is going to begin on Monday, August 17th, and we are going to be 100% virtual. We're going to reevaluate at Labor Day to see if it's going to be safe for us to transition to our hybrid model, or if we're going to have to stay virtual at that time. We are tracking our local COVID data and also the Marion County Health Department, as well as CDC guidelines, also survey results from all of our family and staff as we make decisions about whether instruction is going to move to in-person or remain online. So this is our virtual learning schedule. And so we will still have A Day, B Day on virtual learning. As you can see, we will have Mondays and Thursdays will be A Day courses that students take, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays will be B Day. Wednesday is going to be an independent office hour day. And so during that day, that's not a free day for students. Students will have the opportunity to check in if there are any classes that they're not understanding things and they really need a one-on-one with the teacher. This is an opportunity for them to do that. Also, clubs that we have for students, they will have time to meet with their clubs and extracurricular activities on Wednesday as well. And most importantly, like as students are going to have a lot of assignments, it's a day for them to do some independent work as well to make sure that they're caught up and can turn all their assignments in on time.
And Dr. Holdenblin, let me just clarify. I think you misspoke when you said Thursday would be a B day. Actually, it is an A day, and so the B days are Tuesday and Friday. And it's correct on the screen. I just wanted to make sure that families were aware.
Thank you. So our virtual learning class, students are going to log on to a Zoom session at the start of each class period. Of course, teachers will be taking attendance just as we would if we were in person. Students were going to begin the class with bell work, a class opener like they normally would. And teachers will provide live instruction for at least 60 minutes of that 75-minute class period. And students may have independent work to complete within the 75 minutes and as homework. We will still continue to have advisory as we're doing virtual learning. And so advisory it's basically like homeroom. And so we always begin our day with advisory. So students will have their advisory time from 9 a.m. to 9:15 in the morning. We will take attendance during that time. That's an opportunity for us to provide announcements about anything that's coming up with the school, any information that students need to know about, clubs, sports, etc. During advisory class, they also do culture building and team building. One of the things that's great about our advisory here at Heron is that students actually start with their advisory class as a freshman, and they continue with those same students all the way through their senior year of school. So we will be using Google Classroom as a virtual learning platform. This will be replacing Haiku that we used last year. So each class will have a Google Classroom homepage. Students and parents will receive invitations via email to join a class page. Students must join with their heronhighschool.org email address. So I just want to say that one more time. You have to use your heronhighschool.org email address to join. You won't be able to get in with another email address. On this class page, you'll be able to find daily agendas, links to assignments, and also class resources will be available. And we will be utilizing Google Meet, Drives, and Forms for our virtual instruction as well. We will also be using Zoom as a virtual learning platform. So with Zoom, you will have daily class sessions. Clubs will also be using Zoom to meet. We'll have meetings through Zoom. Students do not need to sign up for a Zoom account. Links for any Zoom meetings or Zoom sessions that they need to be in will be provided on the Google Classroom page. Edpuzzle. So this is a platform where teachers upload instructional videos and add comprehension questions. So students can view student progress, time spent on videos, and student responses.
Dr. Holden, can I mention about the platform for student orientation? Because I had a question about that. There are a couple questions. Your students should have received the videos that they have to watch on Edpuzzle. There are a couple questions I have gotten, and I love this, that students have selected what they thought was the right answer. There was a question, I think the assistant heads of school say, are we excited to have you? And one of them is definitely, and one is yes. There's no wrong answer, even though they put the right answer would be definitely. But if your student put yes, we're not grading these. It is only a way for us to see the progress and to make sure that your students have watched the videos. They're just to be, those questions are basically to be fun and to make sure they don't fast forward through the entire video. So if your students have gotten any wrong, just let them know it's okay. We're not even gonna check their grade. Thank you.
Thank you. And so this is just a screenshot of Edpuzzle, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. As you see over here on the side, there's a question. It says Caesar's dictatorship had been assigned for 1 year. What is the normal term of a dictator supposed to be? This is an example of what we'll be using. Oops. And so for our, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me go back.
There we go.
All right, we're going to continue to use PowerSchool. And so PowerSchool is our student management system that we did use last year. I think there are maybe a couple upgrades to it that Mr. Westerfield will talk about. But we will continue to use PowerSchool this year. And so you will receive information from PowerSchool. You want to make sure that you're checking that information and following up with it. And I am going to pass it over to Mr. Westerfield to kind of go through information about PowerSchool.
Yeah, so PowerSchool is our student management system. This is going to be a way for you as a parent to track your students' progress in their classes, find out kind of, you know, any lunch charges, should we be back on campus, those kinds of things. It's really a great portal for you to see, for us to communicate with you about your students' progress. It has their student schedule. It has all their class grades and their assignment grades for all their assignments. And so that's where we keep our information for students to share with families.
I'm sorry, can I just chime in just real quick about PowerSchool? Families, if at any time you have changes to a phone number and or an email, please be sure to communicate that with us so we can update it in our system so you are receiving all those updates that we send out.
So this is your URL to visit PowerSchool. You'll receive this information through email, and so you'll receive your login information and the URL and steps to create your PowerSchool account for your student. But this is what the front page looks like, where your username is. If you're creating an account on the first time, you'll need to make sure that you switch over and hit that tab that is right next to sign in to create your PowerSchool account as a parent, and then link it to your student, and then that's where you can receive that information. It is real time, so teachers are updating grades all the time, and we are kind of providing information in lots of different ways throughout the day for our students. And so this is where you can find out that information, whether it's fee balances or grades. This is where you can go to. Each family has a login. You can create an account. You will get your login basically when we distribute schedules. And so that's when you will, the same time that you receive your schedule information, your student receives their schedule information, you'll receive your PowerSchool login information as well. So for grades, once you log into PowerSchool, the navigation panel is all along the left-hand side of the screen. And so once you've logged on, you can click grades and attendance. And then you get a quick look of just an overview of your students' performance and grades, and then any absences or tardies they might have. And so you can click on each grade in order to get more detail on the assignments that make up that grade. So the actual grade is hyperlinked. You just go ahead and click it, and it allows you to find out exactly what assignments are making up that grade. You can check for codes to assignments. So a lot of times, so teachers will post what those links to that assignment are. So if a student is missing that assignment and may need to use a late pass in order to turn in the assignment, they can actually click, or you can actually click right there on their assignment to find it, so that your student can complete it. Email teachers with any questions you might have. So the teacher names that are on there are hyperlinked as well. And so if you are wondering why your student has an NG in a certain class, or is just shy of an A and has a B+, and you want to reach out to that teacher, you can click their name on PowerSchool, and that will auto-generate in your email their email address onto your email. Consider a weekly deep dive with your student. Really try and keep up with your students, how much they are progressing. We will be communicating with you through PowerSchool and creating notifications. And so the more that we can partner while we're online or hybrid, the more successful that we're all going to be at getting your students the education that they need. So this is, once you click on grades, on a particular grade, this is what you'll see. We have the due date of the assignments is on the left-hand side, and then we use categories in order to signify whether or not it's a mastery assessment. And so if it's a mastery assessment, that is weighted more in our weighting category. So tests and quizzes, and our philosophy of mastery means that those assignments will be more heavily weighted than the practice assignments. And so we want to make sure that you are paying attention and understand that that those assignments are going to be more important for your student to make sure that they are performing well on. And so this is what that assignment page will look like, so that you can keep up with what your students are doing in their classes. This is where you can find your students' attendance history. We will be taking attendance just like we do during the regular school year for your student when they arrive at their classroom with their teacher. And so you are able to, at any time, go and review your students' attendance and whether or not they have been tardy to their Zoom or have been absent from their class. That information will be stored here on PowerSchool, and you can view it at any time. On the left-hand side, again, you can click balance, and that will give you your balance for purchasing meals. It may be textbook costs or fees, or if you purchase other items from the school in some way. All of that balance information will be housed here in PowerSchool. And then also, so our teachers at our school, we communicate to each other and to families about behavior that is positive and negative in the classroom. That will continue, of course, while we're online. And so the teacher comments section of PowerSchool is once again on the left-hand side. If you click the teacher comments button, that will take you to the next screen, which is where we have our log updates under teacher comments. And so as a student progresses here at our school, we keep track of and communicate to you when they're tardy, if there's some sort of inappropriate behavior or inappropriate language that a teacher might have communicated to you. You can find all of that information about what a teacher is seeing in the classroom here on PowerSchool. And so if you once you click on teacher comments, this is the page that you'll see, and you can see the log updates appear there with the date on the left-hand side based on what that behavior might be. But it's also positive behavior as well. So students that are doing a great job and impressing their teachers, we communicate that to families as well, and it is also housed there on teacher comments. So this is also the PowerSchool app you can download. So you can use either a web browser, or you can download the PowerSchool app. Our district code is right there. If you have a pen handy, you can write it down. I'm also going to put it in the chat so that if you would like to take it, you can as we move to the next slide. We also we notify parents of when a student is absent. We communicate when things have happened here at the school, when dates for important key dates for you, those kinds of things. And PowerSchool is how we reach out to you through email, text, and phone. And so you can go to update your PowerSchool notifications and personalize it right on PowerSchool. And if you want, you can decide how you can set PowerSchool to inform you whether if there's a balance, if there's school announcements, maybe the daily announcements, those kinds of things. If you're interested in receiving those are all personalized options that you can choose to try and to kind of customize the information you would like to receive on PowerSchool.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Westerfield.
Absolutely.
So I just want to talk a little bit about our virtual learning Wednesdays, as Wednesday is a day that students will not be assigned specific classes. So Wednesdays, we are going to have teacher office hours. So students will be able to have drop-in sessions. They can make one-on-one appointments to speak with their teachers about anything that may be going on in their class that they need a little bit more clarity on. And so we'll have links for them to use to access those office hours that they'll be able to get used to get there. And those should be listed on teachers' Google Classroom page. Also, as I stated before, on Wednesdays, we will be taking the time to do clubs and also other culture and relationship building activities. It is a day for students to do independent work. So students will have a lot of assignments that they need to make sure are done by their deadlines. So we want to make sure that we're really utilizing those Wednesdays to take time to get that work done and to follow up and get clarity on anything that you may need assistance with. And again, I want to reiterate, it is not a chill day. It is a day that students still need to be working. And so here are just a few virtual learning keys for success. So it's really important to have a designated place for learning and schoolwork. So, try to get into a routine and have a specific place that you go to get your work done. Please make sure that you are checking in on your students' attendance and their academic progress. Mr. Westerfield just showed how you use PowerSchool to do that. But that's a really good way just to make sure that your child is on top of everything. So think about doing a weekly PowerSchool review. Also want to make sure that students are really utilizing those office hours. Like that is the time or anything that they need assistance with, whether it be something that's academic or not academic. If they need to reach out to myself, to an assistant head of school, to our dean, office hours is a great time to do that, just if they really want to get some one-on-one time with someone. And again, please, any questions or concerns that you may be having, you want to make sure that you follow up, whether it be a teacher, your school counselor, or if you want to use advisory to follow up with any concerns, that can be done also. Some of our upcoming dates. On Tuesday, August 11th, we will be having our new student virtual orientation that will be via Zoom. And so you will be receiving a link via email for that. And that will be from 3 to 5 p.m. On Wednesday, August 12th, we're going to be having our new student t-shirt giveaway. That'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. in the Fessler parking lot. And we'll also be doing that again on Thursday, August 13th, and that time from noon to 2 p.m. again in the Fessler parking lot. And our first day of school will be August 17th, and we will be launching virtually. Also, I do want to mention about our technology drop-off. If you have a student that borrowed any of our technology for Summer Academy, please make sure you return it by tomorrow. That is the final drop-off time. So if you could please have it in tomorrow by 4 p.m., you could drop it off at Heron High School. That would be great. If that absolutely won't work for you and you need to schedule another time, please reach out to our help desk at helpdesk@heronhighschool.org, and you can email them to schedule a time that works best for you. So student orientation, all new students will join a live Zoom session to review key information for the school year. They will then participate in breakout groups to meet classmates. And the session will end with a Q&A, a question and answer section with our current students. For technology pickup, so this week you will receive an email form where you are going to read and agree to our technology and internet policies and indicate whether your student will use their own technology or if you're going to rent technology from us. If your student is renting a device from classical schools, the pickup times are here. That's going to be Thursday, August 13th from 1 to 6 p.m. We'll be doing that. If you're a Heron student, please come to Heron to pick up your technology. And then also Friday, August 14th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Textbook pickup. So we have intentionally scheduled textbook pickup after the add drop period ends. So this way to ensure that students are only getting the books that they need. So that is going to be Wednesday, August 26th, and you can pick those books up from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Okay. All right. So at this time, first of all, just want to thank you all so much for taking the time to go over this information with us this evening. And we do want to take a few moments if you have any questions or if there are things that have come up in the chat. If you want to go ahead and ask anything, now would be a great time to do that.
I have a couple questions that I have been recording. If we could go through some of those, and then so there's not people, so people aren't trying to talk over each other. If you have a question when I'm finished reading these questions, maybe if you could raise your little blue virtual hand, and then we could take those questions so that we can hear each other instead of all trying to unmute and speak to one another at the same time. Someone would like to know how Heron is going to address technological issues it experienced in the prior semester during virtual learning, assignments not being seen by teachers. How can students address that? And that might be—
I'm sorry. Can you say that just one more time? You kind of were going in and out and I didn't quite hear everything.
Sorry, there was a question about, and Michelle Foley, if you want to unmute yourself and describe this a little bit better, you may do a better job than what I've written down here.
So,
go ahead, Michelle.
I'm sorry, can you hear me okay? I'm on a different device than normal.
Yes.
So not at all trying to be disrespectful. You're doing everything you can. You're working really hard. But I have a senior and I'm here because I now have a freshman. And to be honest, my senior spent more time trying to get technology to work to turn into his teachers, who, by the way, were very kind. But he spent more time doing that than he did actual learning during the first time of the pandemic. We literally had over 15 assignments that wouldn't go through. And it got to the point where my student carved out 2 hours a day just to verify things were going through. Part of that was your system, and part of that was because of the glut of people that are now online. When you have so many people online and you're trying to send things electronically, they don't always go through. So one of the things I'm struggling with as a parent is very much wanting to hold my child accountable for late assignments, but also I can't be my child's e-secretary. And so, and as a working parent who tutors on the side, I can't even physically be there to watch every minute. Hey, he really did turn that in and it was another technology glitch. So my question is, how are you planning to navigate that? And I also have seen that some in summer gym as well, and that teacher was very supportive. But again, I had one assignment we had to submit 4 times before it was accepted during summer gym. So just wanting to balance that accountability versus the realities of technology. How are you going to address that? And thank you.
Can I speak to that a little bit, Tanika?
Sure, go ahead.
I want to go first. I do have to go in just a minute, but the last thing that I will say is that that is the primary reason that I'm really excited for us to be transitioning to Google Classrooms, because there is so much. If teachers share a doc out to their class, students can fill it in and teachers immediately have access to it as the student works on it in the moment. And they might need to just do something to say, like, I've submitted it so that it flags it to the teacher. But if for some reason the teacher thinks it's not there, they can just check that student's account with them, and they're able to see the student's progress and even like the history of it and see what they were working on and when. And so that will be definitely a facet. And there may be other programs that we use that we have to continue to navigate, but we see as we go on that there are like fewer of those problems as we kind of just learn to navigate these different programs and learn to check active histories and things like that. So we definitely know that it's a hurdle of e-learning, but we will continue to work with our students and continue to do everything we can to make the systems as seamless as possible.
Thank you, Rochelle, and thank you for that question, Ms. Foley. And so Rochelle is absolutely right in the fact that, one, we transferred from Haiku to Google Classrooms. Also, we do have the help desk available. If you're struggling, that would be a good place to start, is by emailing the help desk to see if they can assist. And then also, I mean, we know this is definitely something new for all of us. And so our intent is not to penalize a student for work that they are doing. So we definitely appreciate, like, if a parent does send an email to say, hey, you know, my child has been working on this and struggling with getting it in because of technology, that definitely helps us, because there are going to be circumstances where that happens, and we have to be flexible.
Okay, I have a question, a couple questions about A days and B days, and then about office hours. Could maybe Mr. Westerfeld, could you explain just again what an A day and a B day mean, and the importance of office hours?
Absolutely. So our A days and B days are, because we are on a block schedule, okay? Your students will not go to every class they have every day. Your students will go through their A day classes on A days. And so those are 4 classes and their advisory. The class that they have every day is their advisory, but their A day classes will be on Monday and Thursday, and they will attend those classes with those teachers those days. And then on B days, they will attend, which will be Tuesdays and Fridays. Those days, they will attend classes with their B day teachers. And those will be the other half of the courses that they are taking. And so they'll meet with each of their teachers 2 times a week for either A day or B days, depending on which day it is. And office hours are a great support that we have in place for students. It's just like office hours. If you went to see a professor in college that was having office hours, oftentimes our teachers will invite students that are struggling with content or need more help, as also just an open door policy to allow those students who want to seek out more help or want to seek out a place to work with some with the help of a teacher available if they need it. The office hours are available for those reasons, to help support our students.
I just want to clarify, we're getting some questions in the chat about uniforms. We will not be requiring students to wear uniforms during virtual learning. And I also wanted to add that this year, due to the pandemic, we've also decided to do away, for this year only, as far as I understand, the logo pants. So when we do go back to in-person, your student will be able to wear pants or shorts that are knee length, khaki only, without the logo. They can still wear the sport too if they'd like, but and we will talk about that later. But I wanted to get that out there because I know a lot of questions and concerns occur over the uniform. And there is a question about time frame before a student is tardy in the chat right now. If somebody would like to take that.
Mr. Westerfield, can you tackle that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we understand that there's sometimes technology issues or sometimes things that are preventing kids from getting right to their Zoom. And so we are allowing students to come within a grace period of 5 minutes to arrive to their classroom. And then if a student is tardy or is absent, we will be reaching out to families through our automated system to make sure that they're aware that a student was either tardy or absent from the class period.
Sorry about that. Let's see, there was a question about, and this may be one for the counselors on the call. Will there ever be an evaluation of students spending the whole day online at any point? Screen time, negative effects, etc. Jenny Kiefer, are you on here just in how to students can check in if they're feeling maybe screen fatigued or just mental health, how students or parents can be watching for that in mental health?
Yeah, I would just say if you notice anything with your student, feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to meet with students via Zoom, phone call, really whatever they're comfortable with. If it's really, you're also welcome to call us and just consult if you don't you know, if your student isn't there and not wanting to meet with us yet, that's okay. As far as reevaluating the screen time, I'm not really sure. I would definitely encourage your students. They're going to have 15 minutes between classes. So like that 15 minutes, get up, grab a drink, maybe grab a snack, but like move so they're not sitting the whole time. Maybe they step outside and do like a lap around your house. But just definitely continuing to move and just a little change of scenery so they're not staring at it for that whole span of time. And you can email us individually, the counselors, or you're welcome to email us at guidance@heronhighschool.org, and I'll put that in the chat, and that'll go to all of us, just in case you're not sure where to direct the question.
There's a question, and I think it's been answered in the chat, but it seems like a question that a lot of families may have about the idea of the screen being on during classes. And Mr. Westerfeld, you answered that in the chat, but in case someone missed that, would you?
Yeah, our expectation is that students will have their video on in the class, so that teachers can engage them. This is a different experience that we're having right now, seeing all your faces, than just a conference call. And to make sure that our students are engaged, are working on the content, are there in front of their computer, we want to make sure that when we are doing synchronous learning, that we're all learning together and working through skills and material, that our teachers are able to work with students as much as we can, like the traditional classroom. And so that is why we want to know what our students are, when our students are learning, when they have questions, and have good dialogue and good academic experience for them. And so that is why our expectation is that we will have our screens, have our video on.
Someone asked about, is there any supervision for office hours if a student is home alone? And I believe attendance is also taken for office hours. Is that still correct?
Yes, attendance is taken for office hours, and a teacher is present there. Yes. So in my description, if I neglected to say that the teacher would be the one in the space to provide help for that student, that is absolutely correct. The teacher would be there in office hours to help the student through their whatever content that they're having trouble with, or just to be there to provide help.
There is a question about, will classes be recorded if a student misses anything?
And so that's something that we're still finalizing. Some parts of the class will be recorded, but we haven't determined if every lesson that a teacher teaches is going to be recorded. So we will provide probably our frequently asked questions document that's on our website about that question, so that everyone can find information about that there.
We've had some questions about technology and cost of renting devices. You will be getting a technology agreement and not an application, but a form that we will ask each family to fill out, whether you're going to rent a device or if you are going to have your own. This came up at the Riverside meeting last night, so I think it's worth saying here as well. Each student must have their own device. So if we have a situation where we have 2 students that are attending Heron in the same family, it will not be possible for them to share their device. So you are more than welcome to rent a device from us so they each have their own laptop or tablet to do their work. And that information will all be sent out. I do not know the cost. I don't know if somebody else on this call knows the cost this year of renting a device. That will all be in the agreement, however, that gets sent to you all. Laura Harris, you have had your little blue hand up for a long time. Would you like to ask your question finally?
Thanks, Lynn. So I had 2 questions. One, just in terms of just acclimating from the system that Noah used to be on into the system that we're on now. And also just in terms of having been, you know, involved in Power School for the last few years, is it possible at all for teachers to put on Power School by the Sunday night of the week what's going to be due that week, so that we have one place that we can go to that shows? We only find out on Power School when assignments have been missed. Whereas if we could see on Power School, and I'm not talking like a month ahead, but even just that week, so that we as parents, especially in this sort of e-learning situation where we're going to be more involved in monitoring the day-to-day, you know, we don't have to go to each, you know, like in the spring, I was having to go to each haiku page and write down each thing and just, you know, help monitor that given the, you know, the way the technology was working. And I just didn't know if that was something that, you know, could be part of what the teachers do, because I know they have to put it up on Power School eventually. If they could put it up on Sunday night, what's going to be due that week, that might be a really great resource for a lot of people. So I don't know if that's available at all. That's something we could do. And then I have another question.
So Ms. Harris, I wrote that down about your request for it to be just, you know, on Power School, so that you only have to go one place. I know currently the expectation is that that information go up like on the Google Classroom page, but I certainly understand why it would be more convenient for you to go to just one place. So I'm gonna have to check with Mr. Wickware just to see about how simple that is for us to just get that information over there, but I will follow up with you once we figure it out, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I know it has to be on the Google page anyway, but I felt like if it's being graded on Power School eventually, maybe if they could just put it up earlier before they graded it, that would just be helpful for us. And then the second thing is I was just curious about conversations between the teachers, coordination. I guess my worry is that Wednesday will be the day that all 8 classes assume that they will be able to work on all 8 classes worth of work. So, you know, if Wednesday is going to be a day of learning, which I totally understand, that it not be a day of learning for a 2-hour assignment for every class on Wednesday, so that it suddenly becomes this sort of untenable thing. So I don't know if there's just, I don't know if you have an answer for that right now, but, you know, if there's just been discussions on how not to overload Wednesdays as a day that's going to be like, well, you have Wednesday to do it. And if every class thinks that they have, you know, Wednesday to do it, Wednesday becomes a hell day and they don't even have time to go to the office hours or connect with their teachers or do whatever. So I'm hopeful that there will be discussions about how to manage Wednesday as not like the day that every class sees as the day to get ahead in their specific class. So that, I just wanted to bring that up as a concern.
Yes. And so we will be, you know, having some sessions with students just about like organizing and best practices to be successful, specifically with virtual learning. But right, like we definitely don't want to wait till Wednesday to get everything done. And so as you have your regular assignments and you have homework, like, and so also, as I stated earlier, all the classes will be a 75-minute window. However, teachers will be providing direct instruction for 60 minutes. So there will be some time in class to start working on some things. And then also, just like when we're in school regularly, then at the end of the day, then students do need to go home and do homework and get some things done and not wait till Wednesday to do everything.
No, I totally understand that. And I expect that, but I would hope that teachers wouldn't say, well, I'm giving you an AP packet that's going to be due on, you know, Thursday because you have Wednesday to devote to my class to do your AP packet. You know what I mean? That's what I mean is that the assignments need to be consistent in that it would be done on Monday and Monday night and Tuesday night, and Wednesday would be a day to follow up on whatever might, you know, because if they need that time to be meeting with their teachers, then they don't need a lot of extra work on, you know, new Wednesday assignment ideas that they would be sort of having to rattle around. So like I said, just something to bring up to just keep everything at a level that everybody can keep up to.
Thank you.
That's great. And I have recorded that on my little document here too, Laura, so I can send that to our team as they're making decisions and sharing and professional development these next couple weeks. Someone asked, will there be parent resources on how to manage in general? Yes, we will put together, these slides will be available, but we will also put together kind of a cheat sheet on the different platforms. We've been in discussion about that with folks at our other school at Riverside, and just knowing that you're coming in and we are bombarding you with Google Classroom, Edpuzzle, PowerSchool, all these things. So we will put together a document that will hopefully help you feel a little more, I don't know, balanced and have a streamlined place for all of this information. And the someone else, forgive me if we've already said this, but if you have to, if your student has an appointment, doctor's appointment during the week, if we're, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Westerfeld, it's still attendance at Heron High School, just like it would be if we were in person.
That's correct.
So email your
absolutely.
attendance
So,
at Heron High School.
Correct. And you can also call our attendance line at our phone number, which is, if you want our phone number, it's 317-231-0010. You may also report attendance there. We do like to have a written parent note, and an email serves as that. So we prefer to have attendance through email, but we understand if your circumstances allow you to only make a phone call, that's totally fine as well.
And how often can a student miss for a doctor's or a dentist appointment throughout the year? Do we have a cap on that?
So we have, so how many times? It depends on the extent, if you're missing the entire day or if you're missing a course. But truism is still applicable during a virtual learning environment. And so students that are missing more than 10 days in a semester would be, we would have a conversation from the assistant head of school's office regarding those attendance concerns, and work with families on managing a way for them to continue to be present in their classrooms.
We have a question from a parent. What's the plan to support students with IEPs virtually? For students that have IEPs, I'm going to tell you to email Sherry Anderson with that question. She would be your best resource for that. Dr. Anderson is our director of resources, and she would be great. They're putting her email in the chat right now, but I would hate to misspeak on that. So if you could email Dr. Anderson, she can talk about what that means for your student and their IEP. I love this question. In terms of content, there has been an effort to integrate, I think, has there been an effort to integrate the pandemic into the curriculum?
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, so just in terms of, no, we haven't particularly rewritten our curriculum to add additional things about the pandemic. However, our teachers are extremely innovative and creative, and so I definitely know that they will be including some of those things into their writing assignments and other assignments where it's applicable and makes sense. Absolutely.
How much, I did miss this one. Thank you, Carrie, for sending this again. There was a question about how much notice families and students will have if we go back to in-person learning.
So the goal is to provide at least 1 week notification before we would transition back to a hybrid model,
And somebody's asking about the breakout sessions. Yeah, the breakout rooms, when you're in summer school, breakout rooms will be utilized.
Well, so yes, we utilize breakout rooms during Summer Academy to great effect. We really appreciated how they helped us in Zoom. It's one of the reasons we prefer Zoom as a virtual meeting space. It allows our teachers to pair up students or have students in their own individual rooms and move from student to student very effectively, and allow that student to focus, allow this teacher to move from student to student and help them quite a bit. And so that is absolutely something that our teachers have already been utilizing during summer and will continue to utilize during the school year as we're virtual.
And Leanne just asked, will students be able to opt out of in-person and do virtual if we go back again?
At this time, that still is the plan. And if that changes, that information would then be sent out. But at this time, yes.
And if we do go back to in-person and you do have carpools, we will have some sort of way to collect.
Lynn, you went
Sorry.
mute.
Okay. We have a way to get carpools together too. We've had some concerns about students being on the same day. We will have a way that we collect that information for you so we can assure that students are on the same day that needs to be. Michelle, I see your hand up.
Sorry, it takes me a minute to unmute. Just a quick question. For parents who might have had a student as a freshman placed in AP, one of the questions I haven't gotten to have answered yet, if you have a concern about your student's ability to manage that workload as a freshman in a virtual platform, one, can you have a discussion about removing your child from that and putting them in, quote, a regular track? And two, are you even having AP during virtual? Several of our districts, we live an hour away, have announced they will not support AP in virtual because they have said that it cannot be supported in virtual, that the content is too deep and rich to do it adequately, and that it is not possible to offer at the right level, and so they're not offering it at all. So I guess my question's twofold. One, are you offering it? And two, if a parent has a concern about their student being able to manage that workload in a virtual environment, do they have an option in making a switch in their schedule? And then my third question is, are your teachers providing any kind of virtual labs? I know we're all in a lousy situation. I know nothing's going to be perfect anywhere in the universe, but are your teachers providing any kind of labs? For instance, Perrin's known for its labs for physics, and that's a freshman class. So sorry, thank you for answering my questions.
So yes, I may have to ask you to come back to make sure that I answer all three. But so for the first question, yes, we are still offering AP courses. And so we are working with College Board to make sure that they still continue to be robust and rigorous, even though we are doing them virtually. In terms of labs, yes, I have been speaking with Mrs. Cummings, who is our science department chair, and she has definitely been brainstorming some ideas to bring virtual labs to our students. So that absolutely will be happening. And I'm sorry, I don't remember your third question. If you could please repeat that.
So my third question is, I don't mind saying I have a student with an IEP, but who also qualified for AP. I'm very concerned because of his learning style, of his ability, quite honestly, to manage AP virtually. And I don't have a problem with moving my student if I think it's the right move for him. So my question is, for any parent that has that concern, hey, AP is already a big mountain, can he really handle it virtually? Do we still have an option to back out? I know normally we would not because schedule requests are already in.
Right. So, as these are extenuating circumstances, if that is something that is a concern, then yes, I would ask that you, the first step would just be to reach out to the counselor, your student-specific counselor, to have a discussion about that and to go from there.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We have a question about how will students have the opportunity to get to know their classmates? And this is a very important question for us, as we know this is a really hard time for kids to feel connected or get to know one another. Mr. Westerfeld, I think you would be the person to answer this about how students could get involved with clubs. And it sounds to me like Wednesdays were the days we may be doing some club activities.
Yes, absolutely. So we plan on utilizing Wednesdays, but our teachers are also talking about using other days as well, and doing it outside of the school day, just as they do during the school year. We would be making them virtual for the most part, and so hopefully allowing even more students to attend. But that is in the works. We're going to have, our teachers have not set aside the time and listed their meeting times yet, but we will have virtual outreach. We will have kind of the touch point of the advisories at every day. And so we will be able to communicate to students how they participate in extracurricular activities outside of athletics as well.
I want to say there was somebody, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Is it Amias? AMIAS, who asked about dual enrollment. And if you wouldn't mind, if you're still on the call, if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself and asking, are you talking about dual enrollment with, we used to do some with Ivy Tech, and Ms. Kiefer would be able to answer that, or Ms. Weck?
Yeah, I was just wondering, how will we be able to do dual enrollment now that we're going virtual and everything, since we wouldn't be able to be on campus?
Great question. Ms. Kiefer, Ms. Weck, do you have any input on that from the guidance counseling office? And I know I caught Ms. Kiefer off guard because she just, there she is.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I said, since we're going virtual and everything, how would we be able to do dual enrollment now that we won't be able to go on campus?
Dual enrollment as in, can you explain what you mean by dual enrollment?
With the colleges for the learning for extra credit?
Okay, for dual credit classes?
Yes.
So those will be offered online the same way. They'll be built into your schedule in one of the blocks of your schedule. So it'll be either be on an A day or a B day. It'll just be like your other classes that you'll be attending.
Thank you. And there's a question about physics. So the assumption that student in, say, physics won't really interact with the rest of the students in that physics class, they will be in a classroom, just like they would be in school. So, and TJ and Holly Warren, if I'm not answering that correctly, they have their classes just as if they were in class regularly. So they would have the same physics.
It will be very much like we're doing right now. But also, I don't know if this comment or this question came from my conversation either about clubs or activities, or if it came from me talking about breakout rooms. Breakout rooms are a tool for teachers. It's just one strategy. It's not something that we're going to say a teacher needs to have students in breakout rooms each day or anything like that. It's just one of the tools in our teachers' toolbox while using Zoom to help students with the material.
My question is really more, and maybe I'm just not familiar with the breakout rooms, but I mean, as you say, we're kind of doing it right now, but really what this call is 3 or 4 of you talking to all of us, and not really any of us, we the parents aren't really interacting with any of the other parents. We're not meeting any of the other parents. We're not making friends with any of the other parents. For the students that are going to be taking these classes, they'll be listening to the teacher talking, and they might be talking back to the teacher, but how will the students get to know each other and make friends and do those things that you normally get at school, since they're just going to be basically having, you know, kind of one directional conversations with the teacher and not sort of group conversations with each other?
Totally. I thank you. I appreciate you clarifying. Yes. So those breakout rooms will be a great tool for students to get together and do to do group work and group conversations, think, pair, shares, projects, those kinds of things, where they are getting to know other students. And so in those breakout rooms, it'll be much easier for students to unmute themselves, have conversations with the students that are there without having kind of a cacophony of voices of 20 different students. And so that of course during like the regular Zoom session as well, teachers will be working with students and kind of probably breaking out more often to have the student-to-student kind of collaborative work.
Can I jump in too? I've been talking to some of the teachers as well, and they are also wanting to make sure that the students are connecting and are working on icebreakers where the students can get more comfortable, because we know it can be awkward talking on a screen on a computer and feeling like all eyes are on you, but just like getting comfortable sharing things about them so they can continue to build on that as the semester goes. So they have definitely been thinking about it.
We have time for one more question, and then we would ask that you go ahead, if you have more questions, send them to either enrollment, if they're enrollment, or general questions, enrollment at Heron High School. Assistant heads of school, feel free to, if it has to do with something that the assistant heads of school can answer, it's AHS at Heron High School. If it's guidance related, counseling related, that is guidance at heronhighschool.org. The last question is, what's the difference between advisory and seminar? And I will just quickly say seminar is like a guided study hall. So it is intentionally, you know, we don't just put a bunch of kids in a room and say, have at it. We have teachers, when we're normal in school, roaming the area and actually offering to help students. And that, Mr. Westerfeld, you might be able to talk what that will look like, or Dr. Holden-Flynn, what that will look like virtually, but I would think that we'll still have teachers there and available. Do they still have to sign in for their seminar?
So yes, we will take attendance and seminar, just like we take attendance in every other class. And yes, there will be a teacher in seminar.
And then advisory is like their homeroom. It is meant to be more of the family atmosphere where they get to know the students in that class very well, because they're in that class every day except for Wednesdays virtually. So they'll go to their advisory for 15 minutes in the morning, every morning, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. They will have the same advisory teacher all 4 years. So that advisory teacher gets to know them well, develop relationships. Most students have their advisory teachers write their college recommendations. So it's a special time for them. They do some special events and special things throughout the year as well. All right, Dr. Holden-Flynn, you want to wrap up for us?
I just want to say thank you all so much for choosing Heron and trusting us with your children. And we are looking forward to this year, although we know it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have some challenges, but we just ask for your grace, and we know that together we'll be able to get through this. And thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Excited to see you, future Ickeans.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, Gage. Oh, no, that's Meyer. Hi, Meyer. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, my swimming from there.
Tell him it's only 47 people looking at him.
All right, everyone. I'm ending the meeting for all. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.